Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to my kitchen. And man, if you're ready to get another epic video underway, I'm here to do it for you. Let's do it!
You're only gonna see me where I'm paid to be.
So it's pretty much where it was when Rem tried his. Really feel like you're just eating frozen peanut butter. Welcome back to the hub that contains all my YouTube videos, and welcome back inside where I cook all my food. Today we're doing something a little bit different. No, it's not a Coach Greg recipe. No, it's not an original recipe. Today we're doing a recipe review on the Remington James peanut butter fudge. Now, according to him, this is delicious, will satisfy your sweet tooth, and makes you feel full. We're gonna put that to the test. So let's get things started by taking a look at the few simple ingredients. Here we go. Liquid egg product, PB2 powder, natural creamy peanut butter, vanilla-based protein powder, white flour, 0-calorie sweetener, Splenda in this case, salt. The first ingredient we need is this fake liquid eggs. Basically, it's egg whites with some other stuff in it that apparently, according to Rem, is supposed to help hold this whole thing together a little bit better. You can use egg whites, but let's follow it the way he says to. We're gonna use this stuff. Couldn't find egg beaters, that's why it's got the weird brand name, but who knows? Who knows what the brand name is where you are? I don't know. This is the one I found. Everything else is egg whites. Anyway, I digress. Here we go. 92 grams of the fake egg substance. Oh, I'm gonna touch over. Spoon some of that out, a little bit back in, 92. Save the rest for God knows what we'll do with it. And next up, we gotta use a ton of the PB2 powder, 32 grams going in. Rem does heaping scoops, I prefer the twist method, 32 grams. Boom, 32 grams on the money. In this recipe, you use some of the real stuff too. Here we have some natural peanut butter. Rem recommends this because of the oil that's in there. It's gonna help it come together a little bit nicer in there. So we're gonna toss some of this in there. 64 grams going in. Initiate negative scale trick for 64 grams. $64 on the money. And once you get all that in there, you're just supposed to mix it all together. Alright, and this is what we got here all mixed together. Just like Rem had in his video. First three ingredients are all incorporated here. Now it's time to add in the vanilla-based protein powder. He did use whey. I'm not sure casein is going to make much of a difference. I don't have any vanilla whey, so we're going to use this. Worst case scenario, it comes out thicker. We'll see. Alright, so negative scale trick again. We are measuring out here 62 grams. 62 grams. On the money. After you get that in there, you just give it another quick mix. And this is what we get after we mix in that protein powder, this type of consistency here. Next step is to add in 40 grams of white flour. All right, negative scale trick, getting 40 grams of our white flour that's going in here. 40 grams. On the money. And of course we got to add in some 0-calorie sweetener. 10 grams of this. There's about 1 gram in each packet. Now you think I just get the big bag for recipes like this so I could just dump it in, but here we go. Ripping open 10 packets. Last one. Done, on the money. And then the final ingredient we need, he said, is optional, 2 grams of salt. 2 grams on the money. And when that's done, you just give it another mix. Then once it's all incorporated, you get a consistency like this. Time to put it into our mini loaf pan. Here we go. Okay, so ours is looking a little bit thicker than Rem's did in his video, but we're gonna go with it. Next step is to take your fudge, put it on a piece of parchment paper. Then you take your ball of fudge that you have on your parchment paper and you put it right into a mini muffin tray. And then, as Rem said, just pat it down. Use the pat method. I think he called it the pat method. Pat it down, fill out those corners, flatten it out. Then we are left with this bit of anabolic deliciousness, possibly. Unfortunately, we have to set it in the freezer for 2 hours at least and then come back and do our taste test. So, Instant for you, 2 hours for me. Let's go take a look at this. Here we go. Okay, so it's been a couple hours. The peanut butter fudge has been in the freezer. Time to take it out of this nice little mini loaf pan, and we're gonna cut it up and give it a taste test here. All right, let's do it. Now we'll be fair and we'll try and cut it up as pretty as Rem did, but you know, I can't make any promises here. So we'll start by cutting off the edges like he did, try to make a pretty presentation, which is probably what you saw in the thumbnail. All right, here we go. Okay, so here we are back at the taste test table, and the fudge sat in the freezer for 2 hours. So it's pretty much where it was when Rem tried his. It does look like fudge. It definitely feels like fudge. It has that kind of texture to it. When you pick it up, it's obviously cold. I don't think you want this to melt though. Even he said in his video that once it starts to melt, you probably don't want to eat it. You'd like prefer to have it cold, I guess is what he said. You prefer to have it cold. It's supposed to be very satisfying, very dense. It definitely feels dense. Just this little piece in my hand here, you can feel it's got a lot of density to it. It's pretty heavy. Let's see if this will satisfy any kind of sweet craving, fudge craving that you might have, and we'll give it a rating on a scale of 1 to 10. So let's start with our first bite here. Definitely peanut buttery. It does have a fudge-like texture to it when you bite into it, that's for sure. It's cold, so I don't really have a lot of cold fudge. A lot of fudge in general, but let's try it on the bite. Yeah, it's definitely, texture's perfect. There's not a lot of bursting flavor when you bite into it, but it's definitely sweet. You can definitely taste the sweetness in there, for sure. Oh, yeah, I must have had an end piece there, because this one here is definitely a little more dense. There's a little more sweetness to it. Maybe the way it was put together, the sweetener didn't spread out enough throughout the mix, but that last bite was, yeah, felt like you were eating a piece of fudge. You felt the texture was right, sweetness was there. I think adding in the flour really gives it that fudge-like texture. If not, it would just be frozen peanut butter. So that's, I think, one of the keys to this recipe, for sure. He said in his video, getting the consistency right, he had to add in those couple last ingredients there. The flour was one of them, and it's probably a big one that's making it hold itself together and not really feel like you're just eating frozen peanut butter. It's definitely anabolic. I'll flash up the macros here, even though you could see them on his video as well. There's definitely a lot of protein in this. I can see it being something you'd enjoy. I just don't know if you wouldn't eat the whole thing, and as you can see, there's quite a bit of calories in this, mostly from the peanut butter, of course. I mean, it is good. It's definitely good. I mean, I like it. I don't know if it's definitely not a 9 out of 10. Definitely A+ for creativity. I mean, coming up with these ingredients, that probably took a few trials by Rem, so most of his recipes are always good because he tries them out. He doesn't just throw something together and then say, here it is, and then hope you watch it. He always does some good research. I think I would like it to be sweeter than it is, and that's the only thing that's holding me back from absolutely loving it. I'd say all in all, if I'm rating it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably put it at a 6.7. You know, not great. Get the job done, yeah, and as I've had about 3 pieces now, the density is definitely there. I'm already starting to feel full, so it definitely actually does do that. I think if I tried to eat the rest, I'd probably feel sick. So I guess if you take your time with it, like anything else that you eat, it's something that I think is definitely worth making, especially if you struggle with eating a lot of fudge or anything peanut buttery. I think this would definitely help satisfy that craving. Because the volume's not there, you're gonna have a few pieces, you definitely want to portion this out, then you'd want to put the rest away back in the freezer until you want it again. Because to sit down with it all in front of you, I think it's very likely you would probably eat more than you wanted to, even as dense as it is. But it's a good recipe. It's definitely solid. Definitely solid. I just don't know if it's any better than 6.7. That's what I give it. But if you guys tried it, let me know. What do you think? Do you think it's better than that? Am I not rating it appropriately? Is it because I used casein protein powder instead of cinnamon whey that Rem sells? I'm curious what you guys think. Do you agree with me? Don't you? Let's talk about it in the comment section down below. But I'll try one more piece here. Yeah, 6.7. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.